It's Paige, and I am doing an episode of Belly Fat Breakthrough. This one is episode 4, and it's all about sugar. So I will post the other belly fat breakthroughs that are focus on a specific thing that can contribute to belly fat. I will post that stuff for you. You can also find them in the video section of the page. So we're talking about belly fat, and so I want to go through just some of the basic contributors to belly fat. A lot of them we already know. Maybe we don't always understand the mechanisms of them, but one of the big ones is age. And, as we get older, with women, our estrogen starts to decline. With men, testosterone starts to decline, and that in and of itself redistributes fat to your belly. So that's one of the reasons why you wake up one day and you're like, what happened? I didn't change anything. There are other contributors of, when we get older, other things like maybe we're not as active, maybe we have an injury, all those kinds of things. Number 2 is lack of sleep. So this is kind of interesting. Maybe you didn't know this, but when you don't get enough sleep, you actually lower your human growth hormone, HGH. This is responsible for growth, cell repair, metabolism, and your body composition. So when you don't have enough, that means that you have your ratio of fat to muscle changes, and not in a good way. Stress. So this is the big one. I also did an episode on this, so I'll post that so you can watch it. So when you have chronic stress, your body releases cortisol, and it's kind of like your body's alarm system that something is wrong. And, it could just be that, you're in a pandemic. It's not maybe your life isn't threatened as it would be if you were hunter-gatherers and you have animals after you, but your body does not know the difference. It's just in alarm mode. So when you're stressed, there are several things that can happen. One is that sometimes to cope or to give yourself more energy, a lot of times we reach for junk food, because it gives us that energy and it tastes good. But cortisol actually redistributes fat to your belly, which is crazy, right? It does that to protect your organs. And, you want to tell it, my organs are okay, you don't need to do that, but it doesn't understand it. And then unhealthy eating habits. I don't really have to go into detail about that. We all pretty much know what's healthy, but we don't always know what's unhealthy, I think. And so that's why we're going to be talking about added sugars today. And those are just a few contributors. There are more. So what we're talking about is added sugars. Added sugars are not the same as naturally occurring sugar like you would find in fruits and vegetables. These kinds of whole foods may have sugar, but they also have nutritional value like fiber, vitamins and minerals, all the good things that your body needs. So those are important to have in your diet. So it's the added sugars that you want to watch out for. So I'm going to say some words that are, you're going to be like, what? So added sugar, high fructose corn syrup, a lot of us know that, sucrose, dextrose, table sugar, syrups, honey, and sugars from concentrated fruit or vegetable juices, which is something that we may not really even think about. We may think we're being healthy, V8 or whatever. But too much sugar brings us full circle around belly fat, because I'm going to go into a little bit of science, and it's not going to suck, I promise. So when you eat too much sugar, you become more insulin resistant. And here's what that means. If you're diabetic, you probably know what this means more. So insulin is a hormone that is produced in your pancreas, and one of its jobs is to carry sugar into all your cells for energy. So when your blood sugar is high, like you just ate a high-carb meal, or you had Coke, or you had something with a lot of sugar in it, your body tells your pancreas to release insulin into the blood. So it's basically trying to compensate for all the extra sugar that's in your blood. But your cells, because there's all this extra sugar around, they don't want the insulin. They're like, I'm full. And the pancreas just keeps releasing more insulin because the cells are just not cooperating, So basically, you have too much sugar in your body, and it has nowhere to go. It's not going into your cells for energy, so guess where it's going? It's stored as fat, and guess where that fat is? It's in your belly. So this is why sugar is such an important thing to be thinking about if you want to be healthy, if you want to lose belly fat, and if you don't want to get diabetes or be pre-diabetic. So here's the thing. Back in 2016, the FDA started requiring labels to include added sugars on the label, but a lot of us had no idea that happened, And even if we did, if you looked at added sugar, you'd be like, well, how much is that? Like, is that too much? I don't know. But cutting added sugar is just one thing that can really help you lose belly fat. And I mean, it helps in so many other ways, but that's just one thing that you can start doing. So here's the thing. The American Heart Association recommends that the maximum amount of added sugars you should have is for men 150 calories a day or 9 teaspoons. For women, 100 calories a day or 6 teaspoons. Now, what does that mean? Looking at a label, labels just tell you nothing. It needs to be like, pretend like I'm 5, and make me understand it. So here's what you can do. And I'm going to post these websites because these are going to help you. So you can calculate your total daily calorie needs with a calculator. This is just an estimate. It's not going to be exactly right. But I will point you to a website. It's fitwatch.com. Suzanne Hiscock, she's like one of my great friends. She has amazing calculators. I would go there right now and just start playing with it. You can calculate your calorie needs, and then you want to divide by 4, and that's the grams of sugar that you're allowed. Now, I'm also going to send you to a Today Show website because it explains the division by 4 and how you figure out teaspoons and all that stuff. It's really, really great. So I'm going to also post that for you. All right, so we're going to go through a few really basic things you can do right now to get rid of added sugar. So sugary drinks. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Any kind of soda, any kind of sports drinks, you want to look at the label to see what kind of added sugar they have. If you drink fruit juice, look for all natural. It's better to eat the whole fruit if you can, but if you want the juice, just look around and find one that is all natural. So here's another thing that you may not be aware of is that liquid sugar. Liquid sugar is like what's in Coke or soft drinks. And it's worse than other sugars because your brain does not recognize it the same way it does like solid calories. So every time you drink something with that liquid sugar, you're drinking more calories. You're having more calories in your body without even knowing it. So you definitely want to avoid that. Unsweetened stuff. So I'm a big yogurt fan. I've been eating it for years. When I was doing my research, this is actually an excerpt from a book that I finished called Belly Fat Busters. So I'm plugging myself. It's not done. It's not published yet. But I did a lot of research, and it was very, very interesting that, yogurt has a lot of added sugar. So you want to get like the unsweetened kind. And then what you can do is put some fruit in it, maybe add a little honey. I mean, that's not going to kill you to have a little bit of sweetener in there. Here's the other thing that really surprised me because I was kind of going through my pantry looking at my labels, and I love dried cranberries, and I eat them with like a trail mix thing as a snack. It has 22 grams of added sugar, which is, whoa. I don't know how much like a Hershey bar has, but my God, that's a lot of added sugar if you don't know. So, I had to search for unsweetened dried fruit, which is not easy to do. I couldn't find it in a regular grocery store, so they do have it at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. So that's an idea. If you like dried fruit, I would really recommend looking at the label and just seeing how much added sugar you have. The other thing is eat whole foods. I think we all know this. You want to avoid highly processed foods like potato chips. I love potato chips. It's okay to have them sometimes, but you really want to try to eat whole foods. They always say to go around the perimeter of the grocery store, where the fruits and vegetables and all that stuff is, and avoid the middle aisles. And, sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. But just, we all know that potato chips aren't good for us, but they just sure do taste good. Watch your alcohol. I'm a big fan of wine. One thing you might want to do is just cut out any kind of mixed drinks because there's a lot more sugar in those, and just stick with wine or, some other alcohol that does not include a mixer in it. And then obviously skip the sugary desserts and snacks. Those are always going to have added sugar. One option is you can make your stuff at home and substitute things like applesauce or prunes. I mean, that might sound weird, but that stuff really can replace sugar, and your stuff still tastes good. It's not like you taste the applesauce in there. So those are just a few things that you can start doing right now. And in October, I'm going to be running a sugar detox challenge. And so this is just a little taste of the information that you're going to get to get rid of added sugar. You're going to have 5 days of, challenges that you're going to do. They're not that hard, and you're going to learn a lot about the foods that you eat and labels and sugar and all of that stuff. And it's really going to make you feel a lot better. I mean, it helps belly fat, but it helps all kinds of things in your body. So stay tuned for that. I will be providing a lot more information about the challenge. I think it's going to be October 4th. I'm going to see if I can get myself together for that. But otherwise, I hope that this kind of helps you understand another contributor to belly fat and maybe make you more aware of the things that you eat. So if you have any questions, you can always message me, leave a comment, send me an email, smoke signals, however you want to communicate, and let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will be in touch with all the information about the challenge, and of course, I'll be in the group and the page. And, oh my God. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm just going to put this in here. This is what happens when your husband is working at home. Talking in here. I don't know who he thinks I'm talking to. Love you, dear. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to go have a talk with my husband. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will be in touch with you. All right, guys.